always talking about these little microbes in the soil, but we've never shown them to you, and that's what we're going to do today. You said 1 to 3 inches?
Yeah, like 3 inches down. I'm here today with my microscope to help John and Chip discover what's actually crawling around there in the soil.
It's that life that will feed all your plants, make your plants so they don't get pests and diseases. Our videos are missing a youthful exuberance because I'm beyond youthful, although hopefully I'm still exuberant. So we're introducing Shannon, who is going to add a youthful exuberance to our channel here. She not only has a degree in landscape architecture, but she also has studied soil, which is a unique combination. Not a lot of landscape architects have much education in soil.
Hi everyone, I'm Shannon. I'm a project manager for a landscape architecture company out of Napa, California, and I got really interested in soil health a few years ago. I had just heard offhandedly how it can really reduce the impact of climate change. The soil is a huge carbon sink, and I thought that was fascinating, and I wanted to learn more. And that's when I took Dr. Elaine Ingham's class online. She's a world-renowned soil microbiologist. Anyway, I'm here today with my microscope to help John and Chip discover what's actually crawling around there in the soil, because I think we talk about it a lot, and we can't see many of the little critters with the human eye. You want to take a soil sample from 3 different parts of whatever area you're sampling. Having a 3-inch deep 1 diameter sample is good. You want to avoid any kind of mulch or anything that's on top because you can't really break that down and really see what's going on in the soil. I actually forgot my Ziplocs this morning and we almost had to cancel everything, but Chip here saved the day with his little poop bags. So you can use anything to collect soil, and Chip, thank you for your service. All I'm gonna do is kind of break up the soil and break up the aggregates a little bit, because we can't really see through on our shadowing microscope if we don't have like a very kind of thin layer. We just want 1 dry milliliter of soil, so I'm gonna take that out right now. It might get a little bit messy. Yep, it already got a little bit messy. That's soil science. And we're gonna add 4 milliliters of water. And this is the clean. I always have 2 cups. One's clean and one's my dirty. The water that we like to use when we do this has been treated with humic acid to cancel out the chlorine or chloramine that's in there, because it's really not good for the biology. So we don't want to kill the little guys before we can see them under the microscope. So now we have the soil in here and the water, but we kind of want to loosen the little biological components that are hiding in kind of the cracks and crevices of the soil material in here. So, hey Siri, set timer for 30 seconds. And we don't want to kill the biology, so we're just kind of doing a little shake. This is Dr. Elaine's method, just back and forth, kind of 1 second per shaky shake, and then we're gonna get it on a slide and see what we can see. Let's see what we got under there. And so this is the potted plant soil, and I am seeing some dead plant parts, and it's kind of cool. If we zoom in, we could see the cell wall.
The bacteria look like not much, kind of.
They don't move.
A bunch of dots.
Yeah.
We're going to go to the vegetable garden where we've done a couple of videos from. Oscar's vegetable garden is looking great right now, and we're going to do a couple soil samples there. So this has no mulch, so we'll just dig a little bit here. You said 1 to 3 inches?
Yeah, like 3 inches down. And if we had like a soil coring device, that'd be easier, but it's okay. You don't need specific. There we go. So this is 1 spot, and we're gonna go maybe along this row and just do 3, so it's a good kind of representative sample of the whole area.
Oscar has used the John and Bob's product line in this soil for quite a few years in a row. Not so much in the last year or so, but I think we're still gonna find lots of life in the soil. Nothing.
I might see a fungal hyphae actually. Hypha. Excuse me. Let me zoom in. Yeah, okay. That's a good one. What I found is a fungal hypha, and the way that we can tell which ones are beneficial and even what they are is it looks kind of like maybe it's a root or something. It's long and filamentous. The way that you can tell if it's beneficial or not is you want them to be dark brown in color, and then the thicker the better too. So this one's 1.5 microns across, which might not sound very thick, but it's getting there to the point where it's gonna, when it grows, it's going to get thicker and thicker and just it's a better and better indicator of how old it is and how long it's been in the soil, and it's a really good indicator of healthy soil.
Because in healthy soil, we want more than just bacteria. And
Right.
You're saying there's plenty of bacteria there.
Yeah.
The fungi is going to eat the bacteria, and then other higher life forms are going to eat the fungi, right?
Yeah, or the fungi and bacteria, they're both in the same heterotrophic layer. And then, yeah, nematodes will eat them. There are a lot of beneficial nematodes. When the kind of higher level organisms eat the bacteria and fungi, that's when the nutrients are released in a plant available form. We really do need those too, and I think that seeing one of those is a pretty good indicator. Oh, wow, John, wait, hang on. I think I found a nematode. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. I want you to take a look at this.
So they squirmel around like crazy, and they actually look so much larger than bacteria. Huge,
They are, yeah,
hugely
they are
larger.
comparatively. We were just looking at it at 400x, which is fun because then you can see the mouth parts and you can tell that it's really beneficial because the mouth parts will tell you what it eats. And if it eats roots, that's not beneficial, but this particular one eats bacteria.
So what we want is what I call good nematodes, and those good nematodes don't eat roots. People have terrible problems with nematodes that eat roots. One of the things I always say is if you have bad nematodes in your soil, that you should build the soil with this complex life leading to good nematodes, because good nematodes are stronger. I'm interested in you if you agree with this, but are stronger and dominant over the bad nematodes that eat roots.
That's true, yeah, competition.
You're in agreement with that?
Competition is key for sure. And to have a soil food web that's very active, you need a lot of different organisms to kind of complete that web. And if you don't have a soil food web and you're just attacking one negative organism with a bunch of pesticides, it's not going to work out in the long term. It might kill that one organism, but if everything else is dead.
When you fight root-eating nematodes with chemicals, it pretty much, the result is dead soil.
Yeah.
We're going to do this area, which has some rhododendrons that are difficult to grow in Fresno. They don't like our summers, and an Alaska azalea. And Oscar's telling us these just reliably look great all year round. So the soil's probably a little bit acid. This viburnum lace cap does beautifully with a fantastic bloom. We're curious what the life in this soil looks like.
Is that, no.
Do you immediately see bacteria?
Oh, yeah.
Would you say every time you look at soil you see bacteria?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
It's everywhere.
omnipresent. And also what I kind of like to do is initially when I'm looking is look for the fun things that are alive and moving around.
Yeah.
And so the bacteria isn't as evident.
But you
like this.
identify the fun things as nematodes, and I think many soils don't have good nematodes
That's true.
because they're underdeveloped.
Yeah,
They
that's
don't have
true.
they don't have complex life. They have the simplest form of life, bacteria.
Ooh, I think I just found a microarthropod leg. Yeah, it's a little kind of hairy looking thing.
So a microarthropod eats what?
I think they would eat the second tier, but they're higher up in the food chain of the soil food web, because they're like mini spiders, the little 8-legged creepy crawlies, and
But also completely microscopic?
yeah, because I'm looking at the leg right now. If you want to see, do you see it kind of looks like it has little hairs on it? It's a little leg. Yeah.
Doesn't move?
No, because it's detached from the body.
Oh.
But yeah, I can. We'll take a little picture of that one, I think. It might look a little bit inert in a bag like this, but if you get it under the microscope, there's so much beautiful life, and it's really important that we remember that when we're putting things into our soil. We want to be supporting that life.
The best way to do that is with products that are either food for microbes or attractants for microbes, or some of the microbes themselves.
Well, thanks so much, John, for having me. John and Chip, I don't know where he's
Glad
running
you could
around.
come. Chip is here somewhere. What do you think? Should they like the video?
Please like this video, leave us a little comment below, and subscribe to John's YouTube channel because we're putting out fun stuff like this every week.